Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shelley, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. And we are now post-WASDE numbers. We had market specialist Marlon Bowling go through those numbers with us just a little while ago, and we can update those prices for you now to see if anything has settled back in or there has been any more turns. If we look at that corn market right now, corn, Dees, new crop up 7 cents at 5.24. That's 6 cents off the high, but 10 cents from the lows, to give you an idea where we've been. So that's about 6 to 7 cents higher across the board for corn after we got those numbers out. If we take a quick gander over at the soybean market, a lot of action there as well, holding in actually better than the corn did. We've got November beans, 13.41 3/4. That's up 12.5. We're 10 again there. We're about 10 cents off of those highs and about 14 cents off of the lows, kind of in the middle of the range. But it'll give you an idea about where we went, where we went, and now how we stand. And then let's take a look at the wheat market, Chicago wheat market. That's these are expressing what we saw in the report with those world ending stocks. I think is really what it is. We've got December up 16 3/4 cents, September up 17 3/4 cents. September's currently trading at 6.32 3/4. That's about 2 cents off the high and 22 cents off the lows, to give you an idea about the strength there. Joining us today is Todd Horowitz from Bubba Trading. Todd and I go way back. Todd, you saw the numbers like I did. Are we going to just kind of sweep these aside and go back to where we were worrying about the weather and those types of things in the short term, or is there anything here that you think we have to worry about for the long term?
Good morning, Scott. Look, I think these numbers were, pretty much expected. And I think you and I talked last Wednesday and we were right at support and we broke down from support. So I think, this rally is more of a dead cat bounce than anything else. And I would suspect that we're going to see, some lower trade coming. One of the big things we have here, Scott, is there's no volume anywhere right now. I mean, this volume is pathetic. And, you've got some sellers trying to take charge, and I think they got squeezed a little bit. But I think you'll probably see the selling resume here, and it'll be more about the weather. And I think we're going to have, I still believe we're going to have a real good third, fourth quarter. However, right now, in this short term, I think we've got some issues to deal with first, and I think we could see some lower prices before we go farther. Now,
so the talk really that I'm hearing is where we gain the acres is in the dry areas, right? So we're not going to gain as much, yield. So the story is how bad is the bad versus how good is the good. Do you think we've got the highs in now, or are you expecting some sort of fireworks between now and the end of the year?
I think we're going to get some fireworks between now and the end of the year. I think we're going to have a very strong year. I think that, we had a huge rally up. I mean, if you look where we came from, the rallies were phenomenal, and I think the pullback was expected, and we'll get into a little bit of a bear trend as we wait until things start to resolve themselves out. But I do think that any surprise to me would be if we went down. I think after this selling abates in this next couple of weeks, I would expect to see a potential big rally to the upside, and I think we have a chance to take out this year's highs. So I think we're going much higher. However, I would be trading it shorter first and looking for lower prices before higher.
Excellent stuff. Okay, Todd, stay right there. We're going to cut away and come back and talk about the proteins in just a few moments. Welcome back to Market Day Report. I'm Scott Shelley, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. We're going to kind of go through these protein numbers, but we just to remind everybody, we did get a USDA report. Generally saw beans and corn sell off. We see some strength in the wheat. Now we're moving over to the proteins. Let's jump in, take a look at what we've got here from live cattle. Live cattle up a little bit here with the October trading up 42 cents at 126 even, just off of their highs, but still kind of a quiet session. So keep that in mind. If we go down to the feeder cattle, mixed and sharply onched, everything. We got everything. We got the fronts a little lower with September off a nickel, October up 7 cents, November up 20 cents. So really kind of a quiet session there, but the September's up at 161.70, which is just a little bit off their highs there, or down 12 cents at 161.70, just off their highs, trying to hang in there, but really kind of a quiet session there. And if we finally go to the lean hogs, Here we go. Here's where the strength is. And again, that 102 jumps out at me in August Hogs as the low, 102.10. We called that as a pivot last week, and it still continues to work. It's the low of the day today in that neighborhood, with August Hogs up $1.95 at 103.52. That's just off of their highs of 103.80. Okay, Todd, if I'm a customer of yours and we're looking at these proteins, what are you saying to me? What am I saying to you? How are you kind of counseling your customers through this time?
Well, Scott, I'm always looking to hedge everything just to make sure I protect the downside. But from a pure trading aspect, I'm long cattle and long feeders. I think that they have a lot higher to go. I just went to McDonald's. I can't believe I had to pay for a McDonald's hamburger. So I think there's a lot more room to go higher. And I think we're going to see an extended rally. I think all we're seeing right now is a little bit of a respite before the next rally kicks in. On the other side of the coin, hogs, I believe, have topped. And look, I know the 102 level is a great level, but I think that they've gone way above where they're going to go. And I think those will start to sell off as the season starts to come to an end. And as we know, we see this tremendous backwardation going out into October and then in December, which is typical. And so I would expect that hogs have probably seen the highs for the year, which were really good, 6% from the all-time highs. But at the end of the day, I want to be long cattle and short hogs here. And
do the retail prices stick? Is it going to be inflationary, or are we going to see that back off a little bit at all?
I don't think at all. I think that this whole inflation game, as you know, is a shell game being played by the Federal Reserve. And we've got massive inflation, although nobody wants to admit it. I mean, look at the bills you're paying week to week and month to month. Yes, we don't count food and energy. However, those are the biggest costs for most consumers, are food and energy. You know, how often you buy a new refrigerator or a new computer. So
let's just make one thing clear here.
You can tell me that they don't count.
That's one thing clear. RFD pays all my bills. It's no big deal. So it's, there's no inflation for me. And you can laugh now. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. You know what? We're going to have to, let's stop there, Todd. We'll keep the jokes for later. But I really appreciate what you have to say. You're one of the good ones. And I'll bring it up again. I like the way that you use options with your customers. That's something not enough people do. So anyway, that's Bob. That's not Bob. That's Bob of Todd Horowitz for Bubba Trading. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to hand it over to John.